Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat across from a woman, maybe at a cafe, maybe at a friend's gathering, and for a moment you thought you had her attention? She looked at you, smiled faintly, maybe even leaned in just a little. And yet, minutes later, she was gone, her mind elsewhere, her interest vanished. Most men will walk away from that moment confused, maybe even frustrated, thinking, "What did I say wrong?" Or maybe I'm just not her type. But the truth is far more unsettling. It's not about what you said. It's not about your looks. It's about the little details you didn't even notice, details that women pick up on instantly, almost without thinking. These are the silent triggers of attraction, the signals that separate the man she forgets from the man she can't stop thinking about. And I'm going to share 5 of them with you today. 5 triggers most men completely overlook, yet they decide more than you realize. Once you see them, you won't be able to unsee them. And you'll understand why some men effortlessly capture attention while others fade into the background. But before we start, listen carefully. If you don't subscribe, you'll forget these triggers just like you've forgotten the signs women have been showing you your entire life. And that means you'll keep repeating the same mistakes, wondering why nothing changes. Subscribe right now, so you never stay in the dark again. Picture this: you walk into a quiet cafe on a Saturday afternoon. The air smells of freshly ground coffee, soft music hums in the background, and you notice her, sitting at a corner table. She's scrolling on her phone, sipping her drink, and for a split second, your eyes meet. She doesn't look away immediately. Instead, she pauses, almost as if she's inviting you to notice her. You gather your courage, sit down, and start talking. She laughs at one of your jokes, tilts her head slightly, and leans just a little closer. In your mind, you're convinced things are going well. But then, just as quickly as it started, the spark fades. Her smile turns polite. She checks the time. A few minutes later, she's gone, leaving you with the same unanswered question that has haunted so many men before you: what just happened? The truth is, attraction isn't random. It isn't luck. Women notice things most men never pay attention to, small, invisible details that work like triggers deep inside their minds. Ignore them, and you'll always feel like you're one step behind. Understand them, and suddenly, you become unforgettable. Just relax, I'm going to reveal 5 attraction triggers that most men completely overlook. 5 simple things that silently decide whether she sees you as interesting or invisible. By the end of this, you'll understand why some men never struggle for attention, while others, no matter how hard they try, remain forgettable. Do you ever wonder why some men could walk into a room and it felt like the air shifted? They didn't even have to speak. Women noticed them. People leaned in. And yet, other men who worked twice as hard, dressed sharper, even rehearsed what to say, were left standing invisible, wondering what went wrong. And here's the truth. I know how that feels. I used to think attraction was about trying harder, saying more, proving myself. But the more effort I put in, the less it seemed to work. It was like chasing shadows. Have you ever felt that way? Like you were doing everything right, but she still slipped away? Maybe you said the right words, maybe you even got the smile, but something you couldn't quite put your finger on, was missing. And before you knew it, her attention was gone. Here's what I discovered: it's not always the big things that matter. Not the money. Not the looks. Not the perfect pickup line. It's the small, invisible triggers, hidden in plain sight, that women respond to on a level deeper than words. Most men walk past them every single day, blind to the signals. But once you see them, you'll never unsee them again. Trigger 1: the unspoken confidence. It's not about muscles. It's not about money. And it's not even about looks. The first trigger of female attraction is something most men never consider, because it can't be faked. It's the way you carry yourself in the quiet moments. Confidence isn't always loud. It doesn't always walk into a room announcing itself. Sometimes, it's silent. Subtle. hidden in the pauses between your words, in the steadiness of your movements, in the calmness you bring when everything else feels uncertain. Here's why most men overlook this: they think attraction is built only in what they do. The jokes, the stories, the bold gestures. But women are constantly sensing what you are. And who you are is revealed not when you're performing, but when you're simply being. She notices it before you say a word. The way you stand. The way your eyes don't dart nervously. The way your breathing is steady. She feels it, almost instinctively, as if her body knows before her mind catches up. That calm, unspoken confidence creates a sense of safety. And safety is one of the most powerful foundations of attraction. I know how it feels to miss this. To think you needed to say more, do more, prove more. But the truth is, sometimes it's the absence of effort, the quiet assurance, that makes the deepest impression. And here's the thing, this is just the beginning. Because trigger 2 is even more subtle. It happens without you even noticing. And once you understand it, you'll never see women's reactions the same way again. Trigger 2, the gravity of stillness. There's a kind of presence that doesn't need words, and yet, it speaks louder than anything you could ever say. It's the quiet strength of stillness. Most men believe they need to constantly prove themselves, talk more, joke more, impress more. But what they don't realize is that sometimes, the most magnetic energy is found in doing nothing at all. The man who is at ease with silence, is the man who holds the room without trying. Take a look at this, everyone around you is restless, talking over each other, rushing to be noticed. But you remain calm. You don't fidget. You don't rush to fill every gap in the conversation. You simply hold your ground, and let the silence work for you. In that moment, women notice. Because your stillness is not emptiness, it's control. And control creates gravity. Here's why this matters: stillness signals something deeper. It tells her that you are not desperate for attention. That you don't need validation. That you are steady in yourself, and therefore steady for her. And on a level she may not even be able to explain, she feels drawn to it. Because when you truly understood this, you will stop trying to force the moment, stop trying to impress. And instead, you will simply allow yourself to be comfortable with silence. What happened next may shock you. Conversations grew deeper, eye contact lasted longer, and suddenly, you will be the one who seemed magnetic. Not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't. And maybe you felt it too, even if you didn't realize. That quiet man who didn't say much, but somehow, he was the one everyone turned to. That's the gravity of stillness. But here's the part that most men will never know: this kind of presence isn't about arrogance, it's about calm assurance. And once you master it, women feel it instantly. And let me be clear with you, if you click away now, you'll never hear the deeper triggers I'm about to share. Most men don't subscribe right here, right now, they'll miss out. And they'll wonder why nothing changes in their life. Don't be that guy. Hit subscribe now, because once you leave, you won't get this chance again. And stillness is only the beginning. Because the next trigger is even more surprising. It has nothing to do with your words, and everything to do with how closely you pay attention. Trigger 3, the small acts of attention. Sometimes, it's not the grand gestures that matter. Not the expensive gifts, not the rehearsed compliments. What stays with her are the small acts of attention. Most men are so caught up in themselves, what to say next, how to look confident, how to impress, that they miss the signals right in front of them. And here's the truth: women notice who notices. Imagine this: she brushes a strand of hair behind her ear. She shifts her glass slightly closer to the edge of the table. She mentions, almost in passing, that the air feels a little cold. Most men don't even register it. But the one who does, the one who quietly moves the glass back without saying a word, the one who offers his jacket before she even asks, he leaves a mark. Why? Because those small acts of attention send a message: I see you. And to a woman, being seen, truly seen, is one of the deepest triggers of connection. I've learned that it's never about showing off, It's not about making a scene. It's about awareness. Awareness says more than words ever can. It says, you matter enough for me to notice. And that feeling lingers. Think back, have you ever had someone remember a tiny detail about you? Something so small you didn't even think they'd catch it? And yet when they did, it made you feel valued, important. That's the same power you hold when you notice her in ways most men don't. And here's what makes this so powerful: attention doesn't have to be spoken. Sometimes, it's the silence of noticing that speaks the loudest. But what if I told you there's a way to take this even deeper? Because it's not just about noticing in the moment, it's about remembering later. And that is where the next trigger changes everything. Trigger 4, memory of the small things. There's a quiet power in remembering. And it's one of the most underestimated triggers of attraction. Here's what I mean. She mentions, almost casually, that her favorite tea is jasmine. It slips into the conversation, almost like background noise. Most men won't hear it. Some will hear it, but forget it the moment the topic changes. But weeks later, you order it for her without being asked. You don't announce it, you don't brag. You simply place it in front of her. And in that moment, something changes. Because memory says something deeper than words ever could. It tells her she wasn't just talking, you were listening. That she mattered enough for her words to stay with you. And that feeling, that sense of being remembered, strikes deeper than any big gesture ever could. Here's the suspenseful truth: most men spend money, flex status, even show off in ways they think will impress. But over and over again, they lose to the man who simply remembers. The man who holds on to the details others ignore. The man who recalls her laugh, her favorite song, the story she told weeks ago. And maybe you felt it too. Think back to the last time someone remembered something small about you, something you didn't even think they'd noticed. Didn't it feel different? Didn't it make you feel valued in a way that nothing else could? That's the same emotional current she feels when you remember. This isn't about memory for the sake of memory. It's about what memory represents: value. When you recall the small things, you tell her, without ever saying it, that she matters. And that is unforgettable. But listen, if you've made it this far and still haven't subscribed, why not? Seriously. Drop a comment and explain it, because there's no reason to watch this long and walk away unchanged. Unless, deep down, you don't want things to ever be different. And here's the part you can't miss: the final trigger is the most powerful of them all. It isn't about words, or memory, or attention. It's about who you are when everything around you starts to fall apart. Trigger 5, the unshakable calm intention. Attraction isn't tested when everything is going smoothly. It's tested when things start to fall apart. And that's where the final trigger comes in: the unshakable calm in moments of tension. Plans suddenly collapse. The restaurant loses your reservation. The car breaks down in the rain. Everyone else is panicking, frustrated, raising their voice. But you? You don't flinch. You don't crumble. You simply take a breath, smile, and say, "It's fine. We'll figure it out." Most men don't realize how powerful this is. Because in those moments, women aren't just watching what you do, they're feeling what you radiate. Anger, panic, or frustration spreads fast. But so does calm. And the man who remains centered, steady, and collected under pressure, he becomes unforgettable. I've seen it happen. The loudest guy in the room suddenly loses his shine the moment things get difficult. Meanwhile, the quiet one, the one who stays grounded, who doesn't let the storm shake him, he becomes the anchor everyone gravitates toward. Here's the emotional truth: calmness in tension is more than just patience. To a woman, it signals safety. It signals strength. It tells her, without words, you can trust me to hold steady when life gets heavy. And that feeling? That's rare. That's what lingers long after the moment has passed. Most men lose themselves in the chaos. But the man who doesn't, the man who keeps his center, that's the one she can't forget. And yet, this is only the beginning. Because once you understand all 5 triggers, something changes in you. You stop chasing attention. You stop trying to force attraction. Instead, you carry the kind of presence that women can't help but feel. But here's the thing, you've now heard what most men will never hear. The question is, what are you going to do with it? So let's bring it all together. It was never just about looks, money, or status. It was about the subtle triggers, the ones most men never even notice. The tone of your voice that shapes how safe or drawn in she feels. The gravity of stillness, where your calm presence speaks louder than 1,000 words. The small acts of attention that tell her, I see you. The memory of the little details that show you actually listen. And the unshakable calm in moments of tension, the anchor she can't walk away from. 5 triggers. 5 signals. And most men will keep missing them. But you don't have to. Because now, you know what they never told you. Here's my question for you, which one of these 5 triggers hit you the hardest? Drop your answer in the comments, I read every single one, and your response might be the thing another man needs to see. And listen, don't stop here. If you found this valuable, then the video on screen right now goes even deeper into the psychology behind attraction, the hidden cues women send that most men ignore. Watch it next, because the truth is, once you understand these signals, the game changes forever. This is your moment. Don't let it slip away.